morning, it's January 18th, and this is to my liberal friends. You know, there's a topic going around in Democratic circles where they say over and over that Donald Trump wants to be a dictator and he wants revenge. Well, look, I'm not a big fan of Donald Trump, but right now I would have to take the former president over a senile and feeble Joe Biden right now, and I would do that mainly because of policies. But let's talk about this revenge and dictatorship. You know, Trump made the comment that, yes, he would be a dictator on the first day. And you never hear the Democrats use that part of the first day. He would repeal many of the executive orders that Joe Biden put in place. That is very similar to what Joe Biden did on his first day. He repealed many, if almost all, of the executive orders that Donald Trump put in place. And that's typical for any new president whose predecessor was the other party. They repeal things that president did because they have that executive authority to do it. Doesn't make them a dictator. It says they're implementing their policy. Now, this recently, Donald Trump was asked about that. Will you be a dictator? He said, or do you look for revenge? He said, look, I'm going to be too busy helping the American people to seek revenge. We're not looking for retribution. It was a new type of response from Donald Trump where he's looking forward, not backward. But Democrats want to seek revenge. And if you don't think so, look at what they've been doing to Donald Trump since the day he was elected. Investigation after investigation. 2 impeachments which failed to get convictions in the Senate. And while some of the actions Trump did were not intelligent in my opinion, but they did not rise to the level of impeachment. But that was all politics, pure politics. This past week, Vice President Harris goes on The View. There's a show that's unbiased, and says she's scared that Donald Trump could be reelected, so we have to run scared, and that this is about democracy. In other words, the American people, if they vote for Donald Trump, they're undermining democracy. Well, that's what democracy is. You vote for who you want to vote for. And now we have this term that they use so disparagingly, MAGA. It's an acronym for Make America Great that Trump uses in his campaign. But to them, it's become a dirty word, these MAGA Republicans. Over and over, you hear Trump say it. I mean, not Trump, but Biden, MAGA Republicans. Well, that's insulting half the population because half the votes are so close that half the people are going to vote for Donald Trump. And it might be slightly more than half and he wins. And that's the problem. You can't keep insulting voters. You want revenge. And now we have a bill in Congress about the inaugural committees, and they want to target Donald Trump's inaugural. You know, these inaugurations, they say, well, Donald Trump, he raised money from corporations and wealthy donors, and $100 million. Well, Joe Biden raised about $75 million, and it came from wealthy donors and corporations. Well, why aren't they investigating his inaugural committee? Because they want to go after Trump in every way they can. It gets to the point of ridiculousness. We spent all those years on that Russia investigation, which turned out to be nothing more than a hoax. It was based on a document produced by somebody working in a think tank in Washington, D.C., a former British intelligence officer, Mr. Steele, who produced the Steele dossier, and they said it was true. He made it up. He had no facts for that, but the Democrats launched a 4-year investigation on this. And now we have the Treasury Department saying they want banks to look through their records for keywords and things like MAGA, because they like that word to be for retribution. Where do they shop? They shop at Dick's Sporting Goods. They go to Cabela, Bass Sporting Goods. That means they could be a possible terrorist, according to the Democrats. And so they want to look at this, and they're expanding that. And the House Judiciary Committee is finally calling them on it. That's what you call revenge politics, going after individuals for no reason, just because of where they may shop or what they may believe. In other words, Democrats believe you're not allowed to have thought that differs from them. If you're not, you're considered adverse to the country's interests. After all, these white liberal elites that live in urban centers, they don't go to Bass Sporting Goods, they don't hunt, they don't fish. So therefore, let's get everybody that does. If you want to talk about revenge politics, that's what Democrats have. And just this week, in the House, we had a couple ludicrous bills. You had the congressman from Florida, a freshman, wants to tear down the Statue of Liberty because the Republicans have an immigration bill that he doesn't like. Then you have Representative Bowman from New York. You remember him? We'll call him Fire Alarm Bowman. He wants and has a bill with 9 co-sponsors for national reparations, which would cost $14 trillion. $14 trillion. And he says, how do you pay for it? Well, you just add it to the national debt. Print the money. You want inflation? Print $14 trillion and watch this price go through the roof. But anyway, revenge politics are what Democrats are the best at, and they love to talk about it, but they accuse Donald Trump of doing it, and he hasn't done any of that yet. Anyway, this is To My Liberal Friends. Thanks for listening.